So welcome everybody. Tonight's Yin yoga class is crafted around the idea of bringing us to a space for better sleep. The world is very chaotic right now. There's lots of things to bring in sources of discomfort and tension just on top of the regular things that we have going on from day to day. And some of us, maybe a lot of us, are affected by the season shift, and that can start to affect your sleep sometimes around this time of year as well. May not feel like spring is coming yet, but the atmospheric pressure, the changes in light, the changes in temperature that are up and down, that whole piece that contributes to the shifting into new seasons can put our body out of equilibrium. And that can make sleep a little more challenging. So our practice tonight is kind of a combination of a good night yin style. We have some spaces that are a little bit more relaxing and places that we can really ease into. But with that said, we can also make these spaces strong sensation places if that's what you need in your body to be able to release any tension that's kind of crept into spaces to help you get a better night's sleep. So we're going to start tonight in one of a couple of places like we normally do. We're going to come to Seiza, which is sitting back on heels. And from this space, you can support it in a myriad of ways. A nice one I like to do is to bring your bolster between the knees and the feet and sit back. But if for any reason this is still too low, you can place the block underneath, put a blanket over top. You can always take your bolster and place it across your calves as well and sit back. So that puts a lot of downward pressure on the top of your feet, which could feel really fantastic or not. And then if this version or any of these versions of Seiza is just not going to work in your body tonight, you can come down to seated with or without something underneath the sit bones. We're just looking for a place that the body can slowly start to arrive. But in Seiza pose, this is a shape that stimulates all of the energy meridians in our body. So choose your version, whatever that might be. Let the eyes close down. Start to notice if you're holding yourself in space. Maybe you need to bring your heart back over the hips. The shoulders might need a little encouragement to move backwards and down. And the arms and the hands can rest anywhere, but sometimes it's really nice to let them shine upward. This gives you a sense of releasing what you don't need. And when you're ready, take that big, heavy sigh. See if you can soften the lines in the forehead. Relax through the eyes, the jaw. If you feel uncomfortable at all in your space, As you breathe, just explore the most minute little adjustments through the body. Maybe a little bit of a back bend, sending the hips back, or maybe the opposite, tilting the pelvis and drawing the core and the ribs underneath the shoulders. Just 3 more long breaths here. As slow as you can make the inhale, keeping the body soft. And the exhale can be heavy, but let it be long and drawn out. And as we come out of this space, maybe you just move the head and the neck a little bit first. Because even though we try to stay relaxed, sometimes we get some built up tension in that space. And then we're very slowly going to come towards tabletop, hands and knees. Be mindful that the compression through the knees can be really difficult, challenging to release a lot of sensation. Same with the tops of the feet. Take a few breaths here. Maybe gently wiggle the toes, help that sensation move through the legs. And then we're going to come into another shape that focuses on the knees and the hips. We're going to come into either a version of child's pose or a version of supported frog. So you're going to likely want your bolster. Child's pose we're familiar with. You're going to want to bring big toes to touch if you're taking the wide version, and bring your knees as wide as you like to be able to start to feel this through the hips. Send the hips back towards the heels, and then we fold down. So you can fold down on a bolster, you can come right down to blocks or to the mat. If this is comfortable, you can keep your knees closer together as well. You can always support this in a myriad of ways, make this really comfortable. And if you're using a bolster, you can even build it up on a table with blocks so you have something to wrap your arms around and hug. If this is too much compression through the hips and the knees, since we just spent 5 minutes in our Seiza shape and we want to release, you can leave the toes touching, the knees wide, and come forward into a version of frog. So the bolster is going to come towards the base of the front of your pelvis. And then you just start to let your body come down. Let one chin come down, one cheek finding the way to your support. Again, you could have blocks beneath this to lift your supports up to meet you. Shifting and moving in to find a version that feels best for you in your body, with the mindful intention that we're preparing ourselves for sleep. So we want to release and get as comfortable into these shapes as we can. And then take your sigh. Start to settle into stillness. Just keeping the mind coming back to the breath. Letting yourself relax just a little bit more with each out breath. Let's take 5 more easy breaths here. And as you release that fifth breath, if you're in the supported frog, you want the hands to come to the floor and press your hips back like you're coming back towards a child's pose. And then very slowly, we're going to move towards tabletop, just like coming out of that Seiza shape. Lots of compression through the knees, release through the hips. Just pausing at table here, letting those really deep sensations start to move through. And then we're going to come down onto our stomach to finish this rebound. And you can make a pillow with your hands or take a cheek down. And just a couple of breaths here. And then we're going to lengthen out the front line of the body, bring a little bit of compression through the low back with a back bend. You have a couple of options here. You can come into Sphinx pose. So the elbows come underneath the shoulders. The forearms can be down with the palms down. You can have palms in prayer. You can interlace your fingers. If this feels like a little bit too much, the elbows can move towards the top of your mat, but keep them in line with your shoulders. You'll have better sensation, more structure to be able to stay. If you want more back bend, you can bring blocks underneath your forearms or your bolster, but you can support this also with your bolster underneath the ribs, and then it takes a lot of the physical structure that we have to bring in, a lot of muscles that we use to hold ourselves here. So coming into Sphinx is your first option, but you could turn this into crocodile as well, so it's a little bit more gentle. Crocodile, we take the elbows out to the sides this time, and then you can either bring hands to both elbows and just let the head drop, or you can bring the hands towards the chin and make that little shelf like you're 8 years old, lying on the floor in front of the TV. This lets us have the spine just kind of traction down with the ribs heavy towards the floor. More gentle lift of the heart, still opening through the front line of the body. So you can choose whichever version, supported or unsupported, gives you that release front and back line. Just keeping in mind, we're looking to be able to relax, to lengthen out the vertebrae, the shape to start to let the tension spill off. When you found your space, take that sigh. The head and neck can dangle, the shoulders might round forward just a little. See if you can relax through the ribs, let go of the tension that wraps through the sit bones. If you have any discomfort in the low back, just play with maybe moving the legs a little farther apart. Looking for ease here. If your head is unsupported, just take a moment here to let the head drop. So release all of the muscle that you're using to hold the head in place. Tucking in the chin. Feel that back line, the vertebrae open up, the muscles lengthen. Take a few breaths right into this space. And then we're going to lower down. So you might lift your chin as you take the elbows to the sides. Just take a breath or two. Feel the back bend release. Feel heavy on the floor. And then you can linger in this rebound here, or we can move towards hands and knees and take a little bit of yang. Maybe even tuck your toes under to lengthen out the feet as you press up, and then just start to move in a way that feels good for you. So some cat and cow. You can let the head and neck dangle and open up the spine. You can even move through some very gentle, mindful vinyasa with the down dog. Maybe even a slow plank and a cobra, but just move so that we're not energizing the body. We're letting it open up and wind down. Let's take 2 more breaths, moving as you wish. Making sure to balance yourself out. Move in both directions. And then we're going to come down to seated. We're going to come into a variation of butterfly pose. So if your pelvis tends to roll back and folding forward from seated, is uncomfortable or challenging, you can fold your blanket over or put something underneath your sit bones to help you sit up just a little taller, a little more forward. Let's bring feet together and the knees spill out. So many options here. So you can have blocks beneath the knees. We're going to fold this forward. You could place your bolster beneath the knees. So there's a gentle opening outward. Bolsters could come across the lap so that it supports the upper body as you fold forward and gives you a nice rounding through the spine and through into the low back. Or you can just let yourself start to come forward without any supports and just round as you find your edge. Maybe if you're coming unsupported, you could even bring blocks forward and just give your hands a place to rest. Or leave all your supports out altogether. Lots of options to choose. We want this to be gentle rounding through the spine, with shoulders melt forward, the head and neck have that space again to dangle. So find what works best in your body tonight. Take that slow, deep breath in. And as you exhale, soften through all the muscles of the legs. Feel the spine round. We're not looking for flat backs or deep folds. Just let yourself sink. Time and gravity do all of the work. Really letting yourself sink into the stillness, feeling heavy. 3 more breaths. Gently let the hands come down to the floor. And press it away as you lift the heart back up. Really, really slow, slower than you think you need to move. Keep the chin tucked in towards the chest. Just pause with the heart lifted. And we're going to close the legs up so the feet find the floor. And we're going to come all the way onto our back. And even though there's still a ways for us to go, it might be a nice time as we're moving towards those deeper relaxation spaces to take socks or sweaters if you might like them a little later. And then ease yourself down. You might bring knees to chest. You might just come long into something like Shavasana. Just going to take a few breaths here. Let it feel really good to be lying down. The shoulders get heavy to the floor. And then the feet find the mat. We're going to take a twist of choice. So I'm going to guide us into a twisted roots. But you can take any twist that your body feels like would serve it best. Maybe just a simple twist, keeping the knees more or less together and letting them fall to the side. For twisted roots, we're going to press the feet into the floor and shift the hips first to the left. Cross the left over the right knee. Take a slow, deep inhale, and you can either leave the foot on the floor or pick them up towards the body. And we're going to let the legs fall over towards the right side. You can bring props beneath the knees as they come down. You can let the knees find the floor and the shoulder can lift. And then you can draw that right shoulder out from underneath you to create more space to the heart. Shift and move your way into this twist so it feels really good in your body. When you've found your space, take a big deep breath in. And when you sigh it out, find a home for your arms. Could begin a T. They might reach up overhead or even rest on your body. The gaze can be anywhere you like. The direction of your knees, or maybe the opposite direction. Anywhere in between. And then just melt here. Notice if there's anywhere that you're still hanging on to muscles, to engagement. Let it be okay to let it go. Starting to deepen the inhale, just preparing to move. Taking your time. When you're ready to unravel this twist, you might close the arms first so that it's a little easier for the spine as we bring the legs back to center. Feet to the mat. Realign your spine. And just pause here. Tuning into any sensations. Maybe emotions. We're trying to let go of that thinking mind. And then we shift to the other side. So press into the feet, moving the hips towards the right this time. If you're coming to twisted roots, we cross right knee over left. Foot can stay down or the legs can lift towards the body on the breath in. Exhale, we start to come over towards the left side. And then shifting your weight into this twist so it feels best for you. Legs can move towards the body or away. You can draw the left shoulder out. You can support it or not. When you found your space, slow deep breath in. Find that home for your arms. Could be different on this side than it was on the other. And just melt him. Again, checking in to see if there's any engagement, anything you're holding in your shape, and just let it go with a sigh. And starting to deepen the breath. Just preparing to move. And when you're ready, slowly, slowly unraveling, coming back to center. The feet to the floor, realign. Come back to that pause. We're going to move into one of two back bends. You can come to a supported bridge, or maybe the upper back would feel nicer to support and move into a back bend with a supported fish. So if you want to come to your supported fish, we bring our bolster behind us. And you can build this up with the block so you're on an angle. Bring the bolster close to the low back and start to let the whole upper body tip back on your support. If you're coming to your supported bridge, you can use your bolster or a block. You're going to press into the feet, lift the hips just enough to place your block underneath the sacrum. No bolster behind you. If you're in a supported fish, your arms can come out to the side. Start to feel that opening through the chest into the front of the shoulder, the length of the upper arm. Legs can take whatever shape you like. If you're in the supported bridge with the sacrum on your support, maybe you explore walking your feet just a little away from that support. Wherever you are, let it feel really good. Make sure you're not striving and it's just a comfortable, easy place in your body to be. And take a slow, deep breath in. Big sigh as you settle into surrender. Be as relaxed as you can possibly be here. Close the eyes. And drop into that easy, quiet space behind them. And just notice what you can see with your eyes closed. Just bringing your awareness back to the shift of your breath. And if you're in a supported bridge and your legs are away from your support, take a few breaths here to slowly bring yourself back to feet closer to your sit bones. And then wiggle the fingers. Maybe gently open and close the hands. And prepare to bring ourselves out. If you're in the supported bridge, you need to press gently into the feet, just enough to remove your support from beneath the sacrum. Ease yourself down. If you're in the supported fish, just bring one arm across the body. You're going to roll off of your supports, your bolster. Make your way down slowly to your side and move whatever you were using out of the way, like a pillow with the hand. Take a breath here on your side or on your back. And then we all come to our back. Let the feet come to the mat. Align your spine. We're going to take the arms out into a T. We're going to give ourselves that wrap hug that we use just to open the shoulders, but to feel really good as well. So at an inhale, we're going to bring the left arm over top of the right. Then wrap the arms around. Start to walk your fingers like you're going to interlace them behind you. Create this tight, tight hug. And when you can't get any tighter, just pause right there. Breathe into this restricted space. Maybe you give yourself just a little extra squeeze. Next inhale, just send your shoulders up towards the ceiling a little bit. Very small movement opens the space between the shoulder blades, makes this just a little bit tighter. Maybe you lift the elbows towards your face. Again, just a touch. Breathe into this space. And as you exhale, soften it all. And then open the arms back out. Take your time, let them get heavy as they fall towards the floor. Take a breath. Same thing again, except for this time, the right arm is on top. Inhale, wrap the arms around. Walk the fingers towards the spine. Breathe deeply into this restricted space. Feel everything open. Give yourself just a little bit tighter of a squeeze. Next breath. Feel the shoulders move towards the ceiling. Maybe you lift the elbows just a touch. On your next exhale, soften it all. Let the arms unravel. Start to come into your Shavasana. Let the legs come to a space that feels good. They could be close together or really wide apart. Maybe there's a bolster beneath the knees. Just trying to move as little as we can. Lift the heart just enough to tuck the shoulder blades under and feel the arms roll out. Just little external rotations so the palms shine towards the sky. If you're cold, just grab the blanket, pull it over your body. Feel really heavy here. Take a slow, deep breath in. Start to feel so light, your heart's floating upward. And as you sigh it out, the bones get heavy. And just surrender in. Very gently starting to come back to breath. Unhurried as you bring your awareness back to the surface. Just feeling the edges of your energy. And as you deepen the breath, starting to invite movement back in. First through the fingers and then the toes. Wrists and ankles. Let the head drop side to side. And then let's point the toes, take the arms up overhead. Take that full good morning stretch. Big deep breath in. Open the whole body and let it go. And then bring in any movement that feels good. Knees to chest, maybe a rock and roll across the low back. You could find your way to your side and just pause. When you're ready, starting to find your way up towards seated. And as you arrive, just lift the heart up on a tall spine. With the eyes closed down. And just take these last few moments of practice. Maybe a big sigh. Stay in that space. We feel open, relaxed, unburdened. All those things that cloud our mind and trouble the heart, let them stay where they are, at bay. Feel really easy. And then we can bring hands to heart. And in these really crazy times, take a moment here to find some gratitude. Even for the tiniest, smallest thing in your day. Maybe the returning of the light. That makes my heart smile. As always, you have my gratitude for allowing me to guide you and for joining me. Keep taking good care, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.